What if the most powerful moment of your entire day is the one you never notice the second you open your eyes? That single moment, when your alarm goes off and your thoughts are still quiet, holds more power than most people ever realize. It's not just a beginning, it's a decision point. And whether you know it or not, that moment is shaping your life. Because how you start your day sets the tone for everything that follows. It's not about how busy you are or what's on your to-do list. It's about who's in control, your circumstances or you. Most people wake up and fall straight into survival mode. Their first thoughts are worry, stress, or dread. They grab their phone, start scrolling, and get lost in someone else's world before they even touch their own. Without realizing it, they hand over control of their focus, their time, their energy. And once the day takes over, it's hard to get that control back. But here's the truth. You don't have to live like that. You can take that power back. And it starts with one intentional choice made right when you wake up. That choice can change how you feel, how you think, how you show up. This isn't about adding more tasks or chasing perfection. It's about owning your morning in a way that shifts your mindset and fuels your purpose. It's about saying, today I lead. Today I don't just react, I create. When you begin your day with purpose, you create momentum. Psychologists call it decision momentum. The idea that the choices you make early in the day influence every decision after. Choose clarity over chaos in the first moments of your morning, and you build strength. Choose discipline over distraction, and you build confidence. One choice becomes many, and over time, those choices shape your identity. You don't need to wake up with excitement. You don't need to feel motivated. You just need to decide that you're worth showing up for, that your life matters enough to begin it with intention. That one small shift, done daily, can unlock a completely different version of you. Because it can. This is how leaders rise. This is how transformations begin, not in grand moments of breakthrough, but in quiet decisions made in the first 5 minutes of the day. Stay with this, because what comes next isn't hype. It's a step-by-step path to reclaiming your mornings, your mindset, your momentum. It's a way to turn your life from reactive to powerful. And if you've ever felt stuck, lost, or like you're just going through the motions, this is your way out. There is power in the beginning. You just have to claim it. So ask yourself, what if tomorrow morning didn't just happen to you? Or what if you happened to it? If you're ready to stop drifting and start leading your life, then keep listening, because everything changes the moment you do. Before the world touches you, you must touch your own mind. That's the moment of power, because if you don't claim your thoughts, someone else will. The world is waiting to flood you with distractions, noise, demands, and doubt. From the second you open your eyes, you're a target of negativity, comparison, fear. And the only way to rise above it is to start the day by grounding yourself in something stronger than the chaos. You must become the first voice you hear, the first influence you feel. The first energy that enters your mind must come from within, not from a screen, not from someone else's life, not from the weight of yesterday. This is where you build your inner armor. This is where you draw the line. Because when you start your morning from a place of clarity and calm, everything shifts. You don't get pulled by every distraction. You don't chase approval. You don't drown in overwhelm. You lead. You respond. You become intentional. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. And presence begins with stillness. Just a few moments of breathing, of silence, of gratitude. It changes your state. Your nervous system calms. Your thoughts settle. Your spirit aligns with strength instead of fear. This isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Because the world is loud, and if you don't anchor yourself first, you will drift. You'll get lost in patterns that were never yours. You'll spend your day reacting instead of creating, and you'll go to bed wondering why you feel exhausted, but never fulfilled. The truth is, most people don't need more time. They need more control, not over others, not over circumstances, but over themselves. And that starts with anchoring your mind before anything else can claim it. Create your own center. Take a deep breath and remind yourself that you are safe, you are capable, and you are ready. Speak life into your own soul before the world tries to speak doubt. Close your eyes, feel your heart beating, and remember that you are alive for a reason. That breath in your lungs is not random. That day ahead of you is not meaningless. You're not here to repeat yesterday. You're here to rise. And rising begins with a choice. one that must be made before the outside world has a chance to choose for you. You have more power than you've been using, and the proof is in the stillness, because in the quiet of the morning, you'll hear something louder than fear. You'll hear your truth. You'll remember your strength. You'll reconnect with the part of you that doesn't quit, that doesn't settle, that doesn't give up. That part is always there. It's just been drowned out. Anchor your mind, set the tone, choose your state, and watch how the rest of your day begins to follow your lead. Control begins here, and you are ready. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. You need one small ritual done with absolute intention. One simple act each morning that reminds you who you are and what you stand for. 5 minutes, that's it. 5 minutes to command your focus, your energy, your future. And what you do in those 5 minutes doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be deliberate. That's the key. Because when you do something with purpose, your brain begins to shift. Your identity starts to align. You create what psychology calls a keystone habit, the kind of action that triggers a chain reaction in your behavior, your choices, and your mindset. It's not about how much time you have. It's about how deeply you engage with the time you choose. Or stand tall, sit still, write, stretch, breathe, speak out loud, whatever grounds you, do it with your whole heart. Make it sacred. Because you're not just building a habit. You're building a standard, a signal to yourself that you are not asleep in your life, that you are not drifting, that you are present, awake, and creating who you want to become. And the moment you do this with consistency, your days begin to follow your lead. You stop chasing motivation. You start building momentum. Momentum is everything. It's what makes action easier, what makes the hard things feel possible. But momentum doesn't show up on its own. It comes when you take action before you feel ready. It comes when you stop waiting for the perfect mood and decide to move anyway. That's why this ritual matters. Because it teaches your mind that action is not dependent on emotion. It teaches your body that discipline doesn't wait for comfort. And it reminds your soul that your future is created in small, unseen choices made every single morning. There will be days you don't feel like doing it. Days when you're tired, discouraged, or distracted. Those are the days it matters most. Because every time you show up anyway, you prove to yourself that you're not controlled by circumstance. You're driven by commitment. And that is the birthplace of confidence. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind. The kind that comes from knowing you're keeping a promise to yourself when no one is watching. That kind of trust changes everything. That kind of trust makes you powerful. So choose your ritual. Keep it simple. Keep it yours. But protect it like your life depends on it. Because in a way it does. The life you want, the mindset you crave, the strength you need, they are all built on this foundation. And it begins with 5 focused minutes. Not someday, not when it's convenient, but now. Today, this morning, because when you win the first 5 minutes, you carry that victory into every hour that follows. Take those minutes, own them, repeat them, and watch how everything else begins to rise to meet you. What you do is important, but who you believe you are, that shapes everything. Every action begins with identity. Every decision flows from the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. And most people live trapped inside an identity they never chose. They carry old labels, outdated beliefs, and invisible limits written by fear, failure, and the opinions of others. But each morning gives you a chance to rewrite that story, not with fantasy, not with denial, but with intention, with clarity, with a declaration of who you are becoming. The brain is constantly scanning for identity cues. It watches your actions. It listens to your words. It notices your patterns. And over time, it builds a self-image based on repetition. So if you wake up every day telling yourself you're tired, behind, or stuck, your brain starts to believe that's your truth. But when you shift your words, when you consciously tell yourself, I am focused, I am strong, I am growing, your brain begins to look for evidence of that instead. It's called identity priming. And it's not just motivation. It's biology. It's how the mind aligns with belief and transforms behavior from the inside out. This is where real change begins, not with goals, but with identity. Because if you see yourself as undisciplined, you will always sabotage discipline. If you see yourself as weak, you will avoid strength. If you see yourself as broken, you will reject growth. But when you choose a new identity and reinforce it daily, you begin to shift the lens through which you see your choices. You stop trying to force change through willpower. You start becoming the kind of person who lives that change naturally. That's why this matters. Stand in front of the mirror if you have to. Look yourself in the eye and speak the truth of who you are becoming. Not who you were, not what others said. Who you are choosing to be today. Say it out loud, write it down, breathe it in, or repeat it until your brain stops questioning and starts believing. This is not pretending. This is programming. This is not lying to yourself. This is reminding yourself of a deeper truth that fear tried to bury. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are what you decide to believe, repeat, and embody. And the first few minutes of your morning are the most powerful time to plant those beliefs, because your mind is open. Your guard is low, and every word you speak has the power to shape the lens through which you live the rest of your day. Don't let that moment go to waste. Speak with purpose. Prime your identity. Choose the version of you that leads, grows, and conquers. Then walk into your day as if it's already true, because with enough repetition, it will be. Every choice you make in the morning either strengthens or weakens the identity you've declared. It's not about motivation. It's about alignment. You can't say you're becoming disciplined and then hit snooze. You can't say you're becoming focused and then drown yourself in distractions. Every action must support the identity you're building. That's how you create integrity between who you say you are and how you live. And when your actions match your words, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. That trust becomes the foundation of unshakable confidence, not the loud performative kind, the quiet, steady kind that says, I know who I am, I know what I do, and I keep my word to myself. Self-trust is rare. Most people break promises to themselves every day. They say they'll change, then repeat the same pattern. They set goals, then abandon them. Over time, their brain learns not to believe their own words, and that inner disconnection creates self-doubt, hesitation, and guilt. But you are not most people. You're here for something deeper, something higher. And that starts with rebuilding that trust, one small morning victory at a time. When you wake up and act in alignment with your identity, whether that's moving your body, sitting in silence, speaking your intentions, or simply choosing not to give in to distraction, you send a message to your brain, I show up for me. I follow through. That message compounds. It's the emotional weight behind momentum. You stop needing outside validation because you've created internal alignment. That's what frees you. That's what elevates you. Because when you trust yourself, fear doesn't have the same power. The opinions of others lose their grip. And challenges no longer define you, they sharpen you. That kind of inner strength doesn't just happen, it's earned. And every morning gives you the opportunity to earn it again, not for perfection, not for praise, but for power. Power over your mind, power over your reactions, power over the direction of your life. You don't need to do everything right. You just need to do the right thing first. Set the tone with a single act of alignment. Keep the promise you made to yourself, and do it with full presence. Because the energy you begin with becomes the rhythm you carry. Let that rhythm be one of ownership, not avoidance. Let it be action, not excuses. Because the way you show up for yourself when no one is watching is the purest form of self-respect. And self-respect creates gravity. It pulls every part of your life into alignment with who you truly are. So wake up, not just from sleep, but from the story that says you're not ready. You are. Prove it. Not by trying to be perfect, but by choosing one aligned action and repeating it. Let that be your anchor. Let that be your foundation. Because when you trust yourself, everything changes. And that change starts the moment you decide to rise with intention. Your mind is a battlefield, and the fight begins the moment you wake. Not against the world, but against the pull of the old you, the habits, the doubts, the quiet voice trying to keep you small. That voice shows up early. It tells you to stay comfortable, to move slow, to wait until later. But later is how potential dies. Later is where dreams go to disappear. You must decide that your future is more important than your comfort. You must stand firm against the part of you that wants easy and choose instead what creates strength. That strength is built one decision at a time, and the first decision of the day is the most powerful one you will make. Discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being honest. It's recognizing that what feels good now often steals what you want most. And each morning you're given a moment to practice that honesty, to look at your reflection and say, I will not betray who I am becoming just to stay where I've been. That's not cruelty. That's commitment. That's what transforms people from passive wishers into powerful doers. The difference is never found in talent or timing. It's found in that daily decision to act in alignment with your highest standard, not your lowest mood. No one escapes the resistance. It meets everyone at the door of discipline. But those who rise are the ones who act anyway, not because it's easy, not because they're fearless, but because they know that waiting for motivation is a trap. Motivation is fleeting. It's emotional. But action is a choice. And choices shape your life. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to move with purpose, even when you don't feel like it, especially then. That's where real growth lives, in the tension between resistance and movement. You are not weak for struggling. You are not broken for feeling stuck. But you are responsible for how long you stay there, and the fastest way out is to act, not later. Now, start by standing up. Start by moving your body. Start by declaring to yourself, today I lead, because every step forward, no matter how small, silences the voice of doubt. You don't need to be fast. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. And consistency begins with one repeatable act of discipline every single morning. There is power inside you that has been waiting to be unlocked. It's not found in hype or intensity. It's found in follow-through, the quiet, relentless follow-through that says, I keep going, I keep showing up, I keep choosing who I want to become. That kind of discipline doesn't just build success. It builds identity. It tells the world, and more importantly yourself, that you are not owned by weakness. You are led by vision. And every day you practice that truth, you get closer to the life you were meant to lead. The world will always try to pull you in 1,000 directions. Noise, urgency, distraction. It all arrives before you've even had a chance to think. That's why the morning isn't just a time slot. It's a shield. It's a sacred window where you reclaim your mind before the world tries to own it. If you don't claim it, someone else will. Your attention will be hijacked. Your focus will scatter. And your energy will be spent on things that don't serve you. But when you choose to begin with clarity and direction, you take back control. You decide what matters. You decide what enters. You decide what leads.
Stillness isn't laziness.
It's power. A calm mind is not a passive one. It's an intentional one. It listens deeper. It sees clearer. It acts from wisdom, not impulse. And the more you practice starting your day with calm, the less control chaos has over you. You stop reacting to everything. You start creating with purpose. This is why stillness matters. Because clarity does not scream, it whispers. You can only hear it when you quiet the noise. You can only follow it when you pause long enough to feel it. And that pause each morning isn't wasted time. It's the most strategic move you can make. Your nervous system is listening. If you rush into your day with tension, it prepares for survival. But if you slow down, breathe deep, and center yourself, it prepares for growth. That's not mindset. That's biology. Your brain responds to the energy you begin with. It decides what to amplify. So when you start grounded, you set a tone of strength. You make better decisions. You process faster. You stay calm under pressure. You lead yourself instead of being led by circumstances. Don't underestimate the impact of even 2 minutes of intentional stillness. Just sitting, breathing, feeling the weight of your body and the rhythm of your breath reminds you that you're in control, not the notifications, not the expectations, you. And when you move into action from that space, your presence multiplies. You don't just do more, you become more effective, more aligned, more stable. It's not just about getting things done. It's about becoming someone who moves through life with power, not panic. You don't rise by doing more. You rise by doing what matters with full presence. And that presence is built in silence, in space, in the morning moments where you step back from everything just long enough to remember who you are and what you're here to create. Don't skip that moment. Don't rush past it. Guard it. Expand it. And watch what happens when you begin each day not as a victim of pressure, but as the author of your peace. That's real power. That's real freedom. and it's yours the moment you choose to own your energy before the world takes it. Start centered. Stay aligned. Move forward with unstoppable clarity. The most powerful weapon you have each morning is intention. Not tasks, not speed, not urgency, intention. When you wake up with clarity about who you are and what you're here to do, distractions lose their grip. You stop chasing everything and start choosing the few things that move you forward. You begin to operate from alignment, not anxiety. The day no longer controls you, you control it. But clarity doesn't come from noise. It comes from asking the right questions before the world has a chance to answer for you. Who do I want to be today? What matters most right now? What actions honor my values and vision? These aren't just thoughts, they are decisions, and those decisions shape everything that follows. When you set a clear intention before the day begins, you create mental filters. Your brain starts to sort reality through your chosen purpose. That means less overthinking, less second-guessing, less mental chaos. You train your mind to focus on what aligns and ignore what distracts. This is not just mindset work. It's focus training. It's energy discipline. And it's how high performers, leaders, and fulfilled people live. Not because they're lucky, but because they've learned to decide what matters before the world tells them what to care about. You can either start your day on autopilot, or you can program it with precision. One leads to reaction, the other leads to creation. The difference is only a few minutes, but the impact lasts all day. Write it down, speak it out loud, visualize it, feel it in your body, anchor it so deeply into your nervous system that no noise can shake it loose. That's how you create momentum on your terms, not by doing more, but by doing the right things with full focus and inner fire. If you wake up unclear, the world will gladly fill that gap with its own agenda. And that agenda won't care about your peace, your purpose, or your growth. But when you lead your morning with intention, you don't just protect your energy, you multiply it. You give yourself direction, and direction gives you discipline, because it's easier to say no to distractions when you have a strong yes burning inside of you. That yes comes from your intention. That yes is your power. You don't need to control everything, you just need to control your focus. And focus begins with clarity. Clarity begins with intention. Take those few minutes every morning and decide how you will move through your day. Not how others want you to move, but how you were built to lead, grow, and rise. Let that intention be your internal compass. Let it guide your tone, your choices, your responses. And when life tries to pull you off course, return to what you set that morning. That is your anchor. That is your power. And that is how you take back control, not just of your morning, but of your entire life. When you start your day with intention, you unlock clarity. But to protect that clarity, you must take full responsibility for your energy. You can't control every situation, but you can control the energy you bring into it. And that energy starts with what you feed your mind. Every thought you entertain becomes a signal to your nervous system. Negative thoughts drain you. Empowering thoughts build you. Each morning, you are either programming yourself for confidence or conditioning yourself for doubt. The voice you choose to listen to becomes the life you live. So choose wisely. Choose the voice that lifts, not limits. The one that believes, not blames. Because what you say to yourself in the quiet hours of the morning will echo through every moment of your day. Energy is not just physical, it is emotional, it is mental, it is spiritual. If you give your best energy to your phone, your inbox, or the opinions of others before you give it to yourself, you lose the chance to build resilience. You trade intentional growth for instant noise, and you wonder why you feel scattered, disconnected, overwhelmed. The truth is, your mind is asking for leadership. It's begging for focus, for direction, for strength. But it won't find it in distractions. It will only find it when you stop, breathe, and reconnect with the power inside you. That power never left. It's just been buried under layers of urgency, comparison, and mental clutter. You reclaim your energy by being ruthless with your attention, by deciding that not everything deserves a response. Not every thought needs to be followed. Not every feeling must become a fact. You observe, you detach, you realign. That's emotional mastery. And it begins in the morning, in those quiet moments where you choose stillness over stress, presence over panic, discipline over drama. You're not avoiding the world. You're preparing to lead in it, from strength, not survival, from clarity, not confusion. You are the gatekeeper of your energy, and when you protect it first thing in the morning, you give yourself a foundation nothing can shake. You stop pouring yourself into what depletes you. You start investing in what builds you. That shift creates momentum. That momentum creates progress. And that progress builds confidence, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. You stop reacting. You start responding. Or you stop drifting. You start directing. And every small choice you make in that first hour sets the tone for who you become by the end of the day. This is not about perfection. It's about power, your power, the power to show up even when it's hard, the power to stay centered even when things pull at you, the power to choose thoughts, habits, and actions that match your highest identity. That power is yours the moment you decide to protect your energy, honor your intention, and lead yourself before anyone else does. That's how you rise. That's how you take control. And it all begins the moment you stop giving away what was always meant to be yours. You are not here to be consumed by life. You are here to create it, to design it, to shape it with intention, not to survive it on autopilot. Every morning you're given a blank canvas, and how you fill it begins with how you show up in the first hour. That hour isn't just a start. It's a declaration, a message to your mind, your body, your future, that you are not waiting for permission. You are stepping into ownership, and ownership starts with structure, not rigid rules, but empowering rituals, daily choices that ground you in purpose and pull you out of distraction, because without structure, even the strongest intention fades. Without rituals, even the best mindset gets swallowed by chaos. You need anchors. You need habits that align your inner world with your goals, that tell your mind, this is who I am now. When you build rituals into your mornings, you reduce friction. You eliminate the mental resistance that stops most people before they even begin. You remove the need to decide over and over again who you are, because your habits will do that for you. And when those habits are aligned with strength, clarity, and discipline, your identity begins to shift. You no longer fight to stay motivated. You embody motivation. You stop needing constant inspiration because you've already designed a system that carries you forward regardless of how you feel. That's freedom. That's power. And it doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the few things that matter, consistently, without excuse. Wake up, breathe deeply, move your body, speak your truth, set your focus. These are not chores. They are contracts with your future. They are moments where you declare that you are not here to repeat yesterday. You are here to rise. And even if the world throws chaos at you, your structure holds. Your rituals protect your power, because you no longer rely on motivation, you rely on identity. The identity you shape each morning with the actions you choose, the thoughts you repeat, the energy you step into. Discipline is not restriction, it's liberation. It removes the noise. It clears the fog. It allows you to act from purpose instead of pressure. And when you begin your day with discipline, your decisions become easier. Your direction becomes clearer. You spend less time stuck, more time building, because success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently. And consistency is built in the morning, in the rituals you don't skip, in the choices you don't negotiate, in the promises you keep even when no one's watching. You want more confidence? Build it. You want more control? Claim it. You want more momentum? Create it. And it all begins with the structure you build into your mornings. This is your foundation. This is your fuel. This is how you stop waiting for change and start becoming it. Not someday, now, every day, starting from the moment you wake up. You don't need more time, you need more direction, because without direction, even the longest day leads nowhere. Every morning, you stand at a fork in the road. One path leads to comfort, the other to growth. One is filled with distractions dressed as obligations. The other is lined with challenge, focus, and meaning. The path you choose isn't decided by your circumstances. It's decided by your standards. And your standards are set in the first hour of the day. That's where you choose how high or low you're willing to aim. That's where you decide if you'll repeat your past or rise into your potential. That's where greatness begins, not in massive moments, but in quiet decisions made consistently. When you raise your standards, you don't accept the same excuses. You don't entertain the same doubts. You don't follow the same mental loops that kept you stuck. You rewrite the script. You step into the version of you that refuses to settle, and you do it one choice at a time, or not when it's convenient, not when you feel like it, every single day. That's what separates those who grow from those who stay the same. Not luck, not motivation, but standards backed by action. You don't become disciplined by chance. You become disciplined by choosing what matters more, your future over your feelings, your purpose over your patterns. The mind will always take the path of least resistance. That's its job. But your job is to lead it, to train it, to redirect it every time it tries to convince you that average is enough. And that training starts each morning. When you choose to get uncomfortable, you expand. When you choose what's hard over what's easy, you evolve. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You chose effort over excuses. You chose alignment over avoidance. And that choice compounds. It builds momentum, confidence, strength. It rewires your identity from someone who hopes to someone who decides, from someone who waits to someone who acts. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. To wake up and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm building. And nothing today will pull me off that path. That kind of power doesn't come from talent. It comes from choice, from making your values louder than your circumstances, from making your commitment stronger than your mood. Every morning gives you the chance to do that, to choose progress over comfort, to live on purpose, not by default. And when you do, you no longer fear the day ahead. You own it. You shape it. You lead it. Not because everything is easy, but because you are anchored in who you've decided to become. And that decision made every morning is what puts you in control. Not once, not sometimes, but every single day you rise with intention, protect your energy, live by your standards, and refuse to lower the bar. This is your life, and this is how you claim it.